Hello everyone. Our group will be discussing the Rohingya displaced community in Kuala Berang and whether they are blessing or burden for the host community. Our presentation will cover the following subtopics. Firstly is the overview of the Rohingya community. This section will provide a brief historical background of the Rohingya people, their migration to Malaysia, and their current situation in Kuala Berang. Secondly, the positive contribution by the Rohingya. This part will explore the potential benefits that the Rohingya community can bring to Kuala Berang, such as cultural diversity, entrepreneurial spirit, and contribution to the local economy. Thirdly, the burden faced by the Malay community. This section will examine the challenges faced by the Malay community in Kuala Berang due to the presence of the Rohingya, including concern about security, social cohesion, and economic competition. Next, the legal and security consideration. This part will analyze the legal framework governing the Rohingya in Malaysia, including their status as refugees or asylum seekers, and the implication for their rights and protection. Lastly, the perspective from the host community. This section will present the views and opinions of the local community in Kuala Berang regarding the Rohingya, including their perceptions of the benefits and challenges of hosting the refugees. By exploring the subtopics, this presentation aims to provide a comprehensive understanding of the Rohingya community in Kuala Berang, their contribution and challenges, and the legal and security considerations surrounding their presence.
Rohingya is a Muslim minority ethnic group that has lived for generations in Rakhine State, Myanmar. What caused them to become refugees? First is statelessness. It started when the Myanmar government did not include the Rohingya ethnic group as the national race list during the country's administration passed a citizenship law. As a result, they have become stateless. Stateless status causes them to be denied fundamental rights and protections, persecution, and violence. In Myanmar, they have also endured decades of violence, discrimination, and persecution. The culmination of these events was when a massive wave of violence occurred in Rakhine in 2017. There were widespread human rights violations. Their villages were destroyed. Family members were either killed or separated. The people responsible for carrying out these atrocities and crimes are the Myanmar army. This led to mass migration to neighboring countries, including Malaysia. Malaysia is certainly one of the destinations of choice for most Rohingya refugees. The main factors that Rohingya refugees choose Malaysia are because of economic aspects, religious sentiments, political stability, and educational opportunities. Rohingya refugees in Kuala Berang, Terengganu are among the groups fleeing persecution and violence in Rakhine State, Myanmar. Their journey to Malaysia is very challenging due to many restrictions by the authorities. This causes them to travel dangerously, including using small boats to reach their destination. The condition of their small boats, which are crowded and unsafe, cause some of them to have lost their life. In Kuala Berang, among the settlements of Rohingya people is Madrasah Hidayah Usmaniyah. This madrasah was founded by Rohingya refugees Muhammad Osman Ibrahim Hafiz Ahmad. While this madrasah operates on community support and minimal resources, they receive help from public donations and aid from the Malaysian government, and they still need to be increased. These madrasah have emerged as places of learning for Rohingya children to receive education and moral guidance. These madrasah provide services to refugee children where they are orphans and those from poor backgrounds.
Here, I'm going to explain further with providing an elaboration on whether or not Rohingya refugees make positive contributions. We are aware of how there are several inspiring Rohingya refugee stories which started from their positive experiences of living in Malaysia despite many challenges. What correlates with the stated question is the idea that when Rohingya refugees have positive experiences in Malaysia, it could significantly enhance their ability to contribute positively to the country. Firstly, when Rohingya refugees are granted legal protection and work permits, they are less vulnerable to exploitation. Legal employment ensures that they work under regulated conditions, which can increase their productivity and commitment. This boosts local economies as they will spend money on housing, food, and services. During the visit to Kuala Berang, I observed some positive impacts where legal protection and work permits should be granted to Rohingya refugees considering their situation. Secondly, access to education helps Rohingya refugees develop valuable skills that can enable them to contribute significantly to the local economy. During my field trip to Kuala Berang, I visited a community school established merely to provide learning centers for Rohingya refugee children. While the school offered basic education and a safe environment, it was evident that it lacked resources compared to public schools. The classrooms got limited teaching materials and facilities, which means that it has less formalized approaches to education. Thirdly, positive interactions and mutual respect between Rohingya refugees and local communities can foster social cohesion. By ensuring their well-being, Malaysia can harness the potential of Rohingya refugees to drive economic growth and promote a more inclusive society. During a visit to Kuala Berang, it seems that neighbors appeared to be accepting of the Rohingya refugees as they integrated into the neighborhood, indicating a sense of cooperation in the community. My visit to Kuala Berang indicated that it is still very difficult to be entirely certain that Rohingya refugees might be making positive contributions to the community.
Let's discuss about the burdens or challenges that might be faced by the community of Kuala Berang to the presence of Rohingya displaced people, and I will focus on three main areas of concerns. Firstly, let's talk about economic pressure. Many Rohingya displaced people take low-paying jobs in sectors like farming, construction, and restaurants. This creates competition with local residents, driving down wages and making it harder for locals to find decent work. Many company owners prefer hiring displaced people because they accept lower wages and tough conditions that locals might avoid. Additionally, many displaced people work without proper permits, undermining labor laws and reducing taxes revenues. Next, the community also faces social tensions. The cultural and religious differences between the Rohingya and the local population can lead to misunderstandings and discomfort. Language barriers further complicate communication and integration. The Rohingya speak a language different from Malay language, causing significant communication difficulties. Misunderstandings can easily arise, leading to frustration and mistrust on both sides. There's also a perception that displaced people compete for limited resources like housing and social services, creating resentment. Finally, there are also security concerns. The increased population can lead to a rise in petty crimes and other illegal activities, putting additional strain on local law enforcement. Ethnic tensions from Myanmar can spill over into Malaysia, leading to clashes and violence, disrupting local peace and requiring significant police intervention. Furthermore, undocumented displaced people are vulnerable to exploitation and human trafficking, which adds to community security problems. In the case of Malaysia, they did not sign any treaties regarding the refugees, which means that Malaysia lacks a formal framework to distinguish genuine refugees from those escaping legal actions for crimes committed in their own countries, increasing security concerns and vulnerability to threats. This lack of treaties also makes the economic and social integration of displaced people more challenging, exacerbating economic pressure, social tensions, and security issues in Kuala Berang, Terengganu.
Now, our focus will be on legal and security considerations surrounding their presence in Malaysia. My insights were informed by a recent visit to a madrasah in Kuala Berang, where I had the opportunity to engage with students and teachers and observe their educational environment firsthand. First, let's look at the legal status of the Rohingya in Malaysia. Rohingya lack legal recognition in their country of origin. When they arrived in Malaysia, they faced significant legal challenges. Malaysia is not a signatory to the 1951 Refugee Convention or its 1967 Protocol. As a result, the Rohingya are not legally recognized as refugees but as irregular migrants. This lack of legal status severely limits their access to basic services and legal protection. During my visit, I learned that the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, or well known as UNHCR, provides some documentation. But this is not the same as official legal recognition by the Malaysian government. Without recognized refugee status, the Rohingya face various restrictions. Access to formal education is limited. In the madrasa I visited, I noticed that they rely on their own funding as well as help from outside or volunteers. This reliance on an informal education system underscores the precarious legal position of the Rohingya and their limited access to basic rights. Security considerations also play an important role in the presence of Rohingya in Kuala Berang. The presence of a stateless population can raise concerns about crime and public safety. However, my observations show that the majority of Rohingya strive to live peacefully and contribute positively to their community. At madrasa, I see children eager to learn and build a better future even in challenging circumstances. The madrasa also serves as an important community hub, providing not only education but also a sense of normalcy and hope, which is essential in preventing social unrest and promoting safety. Furthermore, the integration of Rohingya into local communities can be challenging due to competition for resources, cultural differences, and prejudice, which can sometimes lead to social tensions. The madrasa's effort in promoting multicultural understanding and cooperation are important in reducing this challenge.
Move to the reaction that we received from the local community. So from the last visit to the madrasa in Kuala Berang for our fieldwork, during the interview sessions, we also did not forget to ask a few questions about the local community's perspective towards them, as it is really important to know since they are living in a place surrounded by the local communities. So among the questions, first, what is the reactions of the local community give, especially the nearby neighbors to their settlement in that place? Second, how the local community treats them? Is it good or bad? Third, is the integration between them and the local community going well? So the founder of the madrasa, Mr. Osman, answered our questions in a good way. He said the acceptance shown by the communities in that place are good. He's so grateful that he was allowed to build the madrasa there as a place to start a new life for them and the children of Rohingyas. Even though the place is not too adequate for them to stay for a long time in such a large numbers, and the house also become their school, but at least they get to sleep under the roof and can carry out a class sessions for the children of Rohingyas peacefully. As for the integrations, they integrated well in here. In the weekend, he said the children are free to play outside, such as playing football at the field. So we assumed from his answers, this shows how the local communities are being generous to them as long as no big problem created by the Rohingyas to the local, and to still respect the locals as the host community. The integrations will be okay. The mixed feelings among the local communities towards Rohingyas are true, since there are many cases and crimes conducted by the Rohingyas after the governments let them to stay in here. After several years, Malaysians need to carry the burden of this ethnic, and after being in large numbers, they made a strong move by not paying respect to host culture, very rude behavior towards the locals, making noises and even involving crimes. However, the locals here believe not all of them are having the same behavior. There are still some of them who really needs protections and starting a new life. It is proven, for example, this group
in Kuala Berang. So that is the reason why the locals at that place can integrate with them peacefully and let them stay with as long as they should be respected and not conduct any crimes which threaten the life of the local.
Say that the Rohingya population in Malaysia, specifically in Kuala Berang, Terengganu, highlights the intricate and multifaceted effects they have on the local communities. The presence of Rohingya can be viewed as either advantageous or disadvantageous. It's depending on the ability of the host community or the host country to handle the difficulties and make use the advantages. And since Malaysia is not a signatory to the 1951 Refugee Convention or its 1967 Protocol, so there is no actually specific national legal framework that provides protections or rights to refugees and asylum seekers in the country, which in Malaysia, and the Rohingya settlement in Malaysia is considered undocumented or illegal immigrant, or it's even more to the government or the local community's sense of humanity towards the Rohingyas. And despite the Rohingya bringing social integration, economic benefits, and advantages to labor markets, they also present difficulties such as resource depletion, financial stress, social conflicts, and security concerns. So, addressing these challenges and leveraging the opportunities requires effective integration policies, community engagement, and ongoing support from both governmental and non-governmental organizations. So, overall, by undertaking these measures that mentioned just now, the host society or the host country can turn possible challenges into advantages, promoting a more diverse and prosperous environment. That's all from our group. Thank you so much for listening.
Dia sudah besar mengaji sedikit lah. Dia sini gereja lah Maya ganti.
وآتينا موسى الكتاب وجعلناه هدى لبني إسرائيل في الكتاب لتفسدن في الأرض.
Time for Brother Usman to give you a brief, and then I believe that my students will ask you many questions.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Kita Madrasah Hidayah Usmaniyah sini ada berbagai pelajaran.